D-rings. A fancy trailer like this one, and there's never enough of them, or they're not in the right place. So OCD me wants to install more, but not only do I want to install them in the right place so I can tie down more sleds, I also want to make sure that they're installed correctly. So I'm not just going to use wood screws to attach them to the floor, because I know that would never hold in an emergency. All this sounds super boring, and I don't want to show you how to install a D-ring. That's pretty simple. Instead, I want to show you why you want to install a D-ring correctly with destructive testing. I mean, any old TV show could show you how to install one of these things. This is going to be way more fun. To do this, I have to break out the welder and build a test rig that will let me secure a piece of plywood about 16 by 24 inches with a D-ring mounted in the middle that represents a typical trailer floor of an enclosed trailer. And then we're going to use the power of this forklift to pull on the straps to the point of failure. Now, this rig kind of represents a trailer floor, and it's mounted here at 45 degrees to basically represent the 45-degree angle that your strap would be on from the trailer floor up to the rear bumper of your snowmobile. Now, obviously this one's pulling vertically, where in a trailer it would be horizontal, but you get the picture. And by the way, if we get to the point where we start breaking straps, where this one's rated for 1,000 pounds, I'm gonna put bigger straps on, because I'm not stopping until we destroy plywood. So this guy is just screwed in with 3 red screws, and 2 of them are into plastic.
So no chance they're going to break that strap.
This is going to be very undramatic. So why don't you hit it? I'm going to stay, it's going to be so undramatic, I'm going to stay right here with my safety glasses on, and I'll just watch this thing do what it's going to do. There's some drama there, but really didn't hold much. So that was just a wood screw, pulled right out, left everything behind. We've got another one that's flush mount with a whole bunch more screws in it. Let's try that one next. Who built this? This is very professional. All right, so I'll just lower this down again. We'll keep going up from there. So this one is still just screwed in with wood screws, but we've got 6 of them now.
That was more dramatic.
That had some spice to it, but it just pulled all the screws out again. Yep. Really didn't slow the rig down at all. That strap rated 1,000 pounds. It was way less than that, did no damage to the strap. And let's see, yeah, no damage to that. So that's not gonna hold anything. Next up is a logistics system sent to us by Superclamp. This modular design has rings that clip into place along the length of the aluminum mount. This one is bolted through the plywood using only the supplied hardware. That did something. So it pulled through, yeah, it just pulled the bolts right through that. You know, it didn't even bend that, it just pulled them through.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this guy up a bit. We've got the same thing on this side, but with an aluminum backer on the back side, so.
Simulate being strapped to a frame.
Yeah, so I think this is gonna have a lot more pop to it.
Okay.
This might be dramatic. All right, so here's basically the same type of strap. This one's got a load limit of 1,670 pounds, so we'll see what happens.
It's quite a bit more than the last one.
Hey, look at that. We stopped the lift. Whoa!
What's happening?
Look at the bow in there. That's cool.
Still making unhappy noises.
Okay, now, in order to get more strength,
we need a doubler.
We need a doubler. That did it.
So that's all we needed.
More power. Oh, look at that. That completely destroyed the plywood. So I'm super impressed with this one. Way more tensile strength here than I thought. The amount of wood that it broke away here, I mean, it's pretty amazing. But you can see how just the addition of a small backer on the back compared to this guy that just pulled those screws through the plywood made a huge difference. Backers are a good thing. We are now getting into heavy-duty D-rings. These would typically be used in large trailers securing cars in place. Now this E-Track mount has interchangeable rings or straps that can be clipped into place. Now this comes as a kit, and again, we're using only the supplied fasteners. But this one has heavy-duty body washers as reinforcements. Well, that wasn't dramatic at all.
Yeah.
So that just ripped it right out of the floor. But I think what happened here, the fact that we just had now they're big thick washers, they didn't move, but it just ripped the plywood.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if this was maybe a square backer and spread the load over the back of the floor a bit more, I think it would have been
Makes
better.
significant difference.
I'm very disappointed in that. That did not hold as much as those little E-Track things did. Okay, so this is the one that I thought is gonna hold the most. These D-rings I've installed in trailers to haul cars and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
it's got the biggest backer.
That's a significant backer.
But this is what I'll do in a race trailer to put race cars in, and this is typical, so I'm interested to see how this is gonna work. I think this is gonna stall everything.
Okay.
All right, slide her in. What'd that do?
What broke?
It unwound the ratchet. Well, that wasn't supposed to do that.
Broke the ratchet.
Did it break the what? It broke the ratchet.
The ratchet's broken.
Whoa.
I have never seen that happen.
Yeah, that's completely broken right there.
Snap the ratchet off.
Well, all we have to do now is get a bigger ratchet. That's what that tells me. All right, so
There you go. Lots of strap.
these ones are 3,300 pounds. Typical what you'd find on like hauling lumber and stuff like that, but you may notice that we're using old straps. But for the keen observer at home, this is on purpose because this is kind of how they live in the wild. You know, the straps get knocked around a bit and they're not always pristine, so we're trying to be realistic here.
Somewhat.
Oh, it was coming. That's got a lot of stress in there. I think it's gonna go again because we're hearing wood snap. That's pretty good though. So we got at least 2,500 pounds on that.
Okay, leave it there for a sec. Look how much that's pulled.
Yeah. I'm gonna try something. I'm not done yet. Well, that was a result. That definitely held a lot. I mean, we're over a ton of vertical lift. Plus I had this bar in here, kind of help pulling it down, so whatever that was worth. But yeah, we had well over a ton of pressure on that, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just a backing
But that's
plate.
that's only a ton. I mean, think of a car. This would a car would pull this out of the floor even.
Yeah, in an accident, that would come right off.
Yeah, a
the-
car that weighs 3,000 pounds. I mean, you're gonna have two of these on it, so it kind of doubles it up, but still. Awesome. What is better than destructive testing in slow-mo? I have no idea, but this is quite an impressive pile of carnage that we have and shrapnel on the floor. But got one other idea. It's a little outside the box, but we'll see what happens. Up to now, we've just been talking about D-ring type of fasteners, but Super Clamp has an interesting way of keeping your sled in place with their Super Clamp cross ski clamps here, and also a second point of attachment at the back that holds the skid rail down. Now, you might be wondering what I'm doing with an old derelict snowmobile like this on a steel table being held down with Super Clamps. Well, we're gonna figure out how strong these guys really are. Give me a couple minutes and I'll show you what I'm gonna do. So here's my idea. We've got a big heavy steel plate here that the Super Clamps are attached to, holding the snowmobile down to the steel plate. And back there, I've got chains going back to a shipping container that are gonna hold the steel plate in place with the sled on it. Then I'm gonna get in the loader that's gonna be hooked up to the chassis, and I'm gonna back up. That should test the Super Clamps and the chassis to figure out which one's stronger. This is gonna be good. Wow, I didn't think those straps would break. Two more down for the count on this trip. So a bit of a win and a bit of a fail. That's because my weld that I had on the rings that held the super clamps in place, that weld down to the table, it failed, but the super clamps, they stayed in one piece. A little bit of damage right here, but basically that was with a loader pulling on this thing. So I think right now we've proven the strength of the super clamp, but I really want to see this sled become 2 sleds. That's way closer, but not 2 pieces yet. Yes, that's 2 pieces. All right. It's completely pointless, and we kind of lost track of our whole thing that we were doing, but hell, it's fun anyways. We got 2 snowmobiles now. Started with 1, now we got 2.